Well, good afternoon officially. I should say this is the song of the month, but it's a song of the every other month. The last time I did an actual song of the month, I think, was in November. But I had done some other things similar to it in December, so that's why I kind of waited to now. And I didn't do one in January, did I? But anyway, there's a great song today that you should have gotten the music. I sent it out in the email. The song is Hey Jude, which it's the 60th anniversary of the Beatles today. Is that right? In the U.S. Oh, how about that? I was just told, hot off the press, just in. It's the 60th anniversary of the Beatles coming into the U.S. All right, well, then it's only fitting. Now, the song Hey Jude, many of you know this, maybe you don't, but it's the writing and recording of the Hey Jude coincided with a period of upheaval in the Beatles. You remember that, right? The ballad evolved from Hey Jules. Okay, now if you know, Jules was for Julian Lennon, the son. Right, and a song McCartney wrote to comfort John Lennon's son, Julian. So it was originally titled Hey Jules, after Lennon had left his wife, Cynthia, for Yoko Ono. And he changed it to Jude. I guess it just sounded better to say Hey Jude. So that's originally what it was, the name of the songs was Hey Jules originally, but Hey Jude kind of works out. So I don't know if you noticed in the email, but I had been working on this song, first of all, learning to play it and what have you. And in the last couple of days, I was really working, getting it. And I was thinking to myself, I don't want to try to teach this arrangement and some things that I'm going to talk about in one class. So that's why I said part one in my email, part two. Because what I want to do is take time to share, because I'm not just going to give you an arrangement and some ideas of what I did, what have you. You're going to get some bonus stuff in part two. So today I'm going to keep it relatively simple in the arrangement, but I'm also going to be diving into some features in the instrument to manipulate it to work for us, okay? And I didn't want to rush it in one 45-minute, 50-minute time. So this is going to be part one, and then we'll do part two in a bit, all right? So would you like me to play the song first?
Yes.
Okay. Let me try playing the song first. Second, part two, I'll have it down more pat, all right? Because I made a lot of change. Even this morning as I was working on it, I made some adjustments on it, okay? So let me pull this up. I'll leave that there. All right. Okay. Let's see what happens here. I might goof up on a couple of spots, but that's okay. Here we go. Is the camera recording? I could do this like this. Turn this microphone on. It'll be a good sound check anyway. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And the crowd roars. Crowd roars. I actually was looking for if there's an actual fade out button somewhere, but I don't know where it's at on this one. I haven't used it in so long. Do you know where it's at? Whoever knows the answer to that question will win 500 virtual dollars. Wow. That's a lot of dollars.
That's the first and second ending together.
Oh, there it is. Fade like it is before. There you go. You won 500 virtual dollars. You can buy that. You can spend that money on any virtual book. Okay? Okay. So the first thing I want to tell you is you're not going to get the arrangement for the entire song, and you're actually missing a page in the music that I sent out. Okay? And it was done intentionally, because I'm going to do that on part 2. Actually, part 2 is that plus a little bit that I'm not going to get to today. So what I want to do is, I didn't notate my music, but I'm going to tell you where all the changes are. It's pretty simple, okay? And I'm going to mark them as I go, and then I'll put them on the screen. Now what I'll do next time, next part 2, I'll send the music back out again, and I'll notate where I made all the changes. Right now I'm going to encourage you to write it down, okay? So I actually have 9 or 10 setups for this song. That's why I'm not doing all of it today. Yeah. So what I'm going to tell you is where I did those setups first, and then we're going to dive into a little bit of how I did the arrangement, because some of it is using features on the instrument, and some of it's going to be features you probably may never use. But I had to work with what I had, because I was trying to find something. I wanted to do an arrangement similar, keeping the tradition of the song. It's a very piano-based song, and they sing it, and it's a real just good, straightforward song. But I also wanted to throw in parts with the harmony and what have you. Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute. Let me tell you where I made the changes first. All right. So the first change I made, and as I go through this, I'm going to tell you how I made these presets. I'm going to use A1, 2, 3, 4. I could just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just remember, and what I'm going to do next week, when I finalize this arrangement, I'm going to post it on Patreon. I'll have it here, and you can download them. And there's going to be more than one arrangement. Oh, more than one version, should I say. But you're going to see them. We're going to talk about the first version today, and I'll touch on the other version in part 2, okay? So the first thing is at the very beginning of the song. My first preset is obviously in the very beginning. A1, you can call it 1, but all my presets are going to be on A1. I'll actually say 1 because I'm going to give at least 2, 3, or maybe 3 arrangements. And the first one will be on the A bank, the second one will be on B, and the third will be on C. So, but it'll follow the same number, the same order. You'll either be using A, B, or C, depending on which way you like. All right? Okay, so I'm just going to say 1 for the first one, okay? Now my 1 looks like a real big, thick line. Number 2, go 1, 2, 3 lines down. And this was a little tricky the way I set this up. Okay. Number 2, go 3 lines down. And you see where the lyrics start to make it better. Hey, Jude, you could put your second setup on Jude. Okay?
Jude or hey?
Jude.
Oh.
So I'm going to, right here. And again, I'm going to post this and I'm going to notate all these for you, but right now I would take notes. Can you see that okay? It looks weird on my screen. Okay. All right. The third setup will be on the second page at the very beginning, at the top. Okay? So far, so good? All right. Okay. The fourth setup is going to go back at the beginning where number 1 is.
Where does the A3 go through to all that page?
Yep.
And
Just play. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm going to go through the order of the presets, where to put them. When I'm done, I'm going to tell you the order that I actually play the song. Because it's not like it's written. And do you know why? Why do you ask?
why?
Because I listened to the song and I wanted to play the song in the order the way the song was written. The Easy Play doesn't play the song in the same order, really. It sort of does. There's some parts that repeats more. So I'm going to tell you how I did it, but let me go over where I made all the changes first, all right? So number 1 is at the beginning. Number 2 is on the third line down on the word Jude. And it's important that it's on the word Jude. Or you can even put it on hey, just as long as you're on number 2 by the time you hit the note on Jude. So I would make a note to yourself that you just want to make sure you're on number 2 when you press. Okay? You don't want to do it too soon, and I'll explain why in a bit. If you use the presets that I give you. The fourth setup's same as number 1. The fifth setup can be where you think it's going to be, but it's not. Okay? Let me see how I can explain this. Da, 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 da.
So when you repeat the first page, it goes to number 4 setup. Correct?
Right. So the way you're going to do the song is you're going to do the first page, you're going to do the second page, and then at the very end, it goes back. But don't follow the DSL coda and all that stuff. I'm going to tell you the order I'm playing it. And then we're on the fourth setup, okay? And we're playing at the beginning. But I want you to listen what I do. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the song. I'm on my fourth setup. Are you ready? So now I've played it one time through and I'm back to the beginning. Follow me and see what I do when I get to the fifth setup. Are you ready? So I'm on the fourth setup from the beginning. Okay? Okay, here we go. Okay? So did you catch it?
No.
The fifth setup, and then number 6 is even trickier because I'll go back and play that. The fifth setup I do on the word
Better.
better. Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me play it. I know it when I play it. Here we go. No, I do it on the second line. Where's my pen? Where's my pen? Second line, right where it says remember. Second line between remember, somewhere in there, okay? Let me come over here. Can you see that?
Okay.
Can you see the 5 there?
Yes.
Okay. That's where my fifth setup is, okay? 4 is at the beginning. 4 is at the beginning, uh-huh. Now 6 gets a little trickier. All right, let me play 4. I'm going to play 5 and see where I go, what I do with number 6. Okay? Are you ready? I'm going to start back from the beginning, preset 4, then 5. And you'll notice the difference. Number 5, there's a little bit of a harmony in there, and then I do to number 6. Here we go. See what I did there? Okay. So and the reason why I did this is I followed the way that they did the song. All right? So, number 4, I'm going to repeat first, just make sure everybody's got that. Number 4 is at the beginning. Number 5 takes place where it says remember. And I did it like that because in the song, right in that part of the song, they start harmonizing. So I added a harmony there. Now, I'm not going to do everything exactly, but I kept some of the similarities is what the goal was. And then I got to that part there. On the second line, remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it. You see it right there. Before you play the word better, I don't know what the musical notation is yet. I'll figure it out. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 lines down. We see where it says, do this upside down, to make it, and the next word would be what? Better. You're going to skip to the second page. Right there. You're going to skip to the second page right there.
Oh.
Right there, you're going to skip to the second page. And then on the second page, you're going to do setup number 6. Okay? All right. Now, let me do this. Let me pull this music up and let me point it out here. Again, what I'm going to do after today is I'm going to notate my music and then I'll actually send it out again and I'll put all these notations. Okay? So here's the music. Here's A1. I don't know if you could see it from over there with my camera in the way. Is it the beginning? Number 2, I'm going to just call it 1 for now because I'm going to have more than one setup. 2, and number 3 is going to be on this page. Where is it? Number 3.
Yeah, 3 at the top.
Yeah, let me just move this here. I'm doing the real time here. Number 3, okay, and then over here, copy paste is going to be number 4, okay, and then number 5 is going to actually be right here. Zoom in a little bit so you guys can see that.
Okay.
All right, and then right here, for now, what I'm going to do is just put a little asterisk. I'll figure out the actual musical notations on these. Okay, right here, you're going to jump to 6, but it's going to be on the second page right here. Does that make sense? Okay?
Next.
All right. So we learn by repetition. I'm going to say it one more time and then talk about the setups of the song. So beginning at the page 1, I play the song. I get here, I do the second setup. I continue playing the song. I do the third setup here. Pretty simple. Then I get to the end. And when I get to here, technically you start your fourth preset. See if I can move this down here. All right, so right here I'm going to put 4 at the bottom, and then you're going to go back to the beginning, and that's where you're playing your fourth setup, right? And then you continue to play right here, you get to number 5, and then right here is number 6, and you jump to the second page. Okay?
All the way down again.
And then you're going to go all the way down again.
Can I ask you something? When
Yes.
you go back to the first page for A4,
Uh-huh.
do you play or not play the Nord chord C?
No, ignore the no chord.
So you go back to the where the little symbol is where you start.
Right. Now, it was a good question, and let me address that. So if you look at the music on your music, look at the very end of the song, right where it says no chord. You see that there? Yeah, I would ignore the no chord. I just wipe it out. Hold the thought, because this is a good question. You see the note there? What note is it? C. And it says, hey. Now watch what happens when you go back to the beginning. What's the next note?
C.
Jude. You're not going to go, hey, hey.
No, right.
So essentially, at the very end of the song, that's when you get down to the bottom here, that note is replacing the very beginning. So you don't go, hey, hey. You don't. Let me put this screen here. You don't go, hey, hey. Right, because this right here is replacing the beginning. So I guess if I wanted to be very clear in the song, you're playing the song with the notes where you're playing it. But when you get to the bottom of that page and you're going to go back and repeat, you're going to play and you're going to go, hey. So number 4 really is taking place on the word Jude, if I want to be very technical there. Okay? Make sense?
So
Okay.
preset 4 then,
Say it again.
to make after the last page there, like, hey, you go back to the first page, so you're gonna have to play number 4 again?
Right. Well,
Or that
yes,
would
but
be
we'll get
7.
to, hold on one second. Let me pull up the music here. All right. So at the very bottom, you can make a notation that this is really number 4. And then when you get to the beginning, number 4 really starts right on that F chord at the top. Okay? Now, I'm glad you're all taking notes, but I'm gonna go in detail and do all of this. Type it all up for you, okay? So you'll have it as well. All right, and then number 5 happens here, and when you get to the third line on the first page and number 6, you jump to the second page and you're kind of repeating that second page. Now, I'm going to stop right here for now, and then I'm going to go over the setups of the song because I don't know if I'm going to get to 7 and 8 yet, okay? Now, let's talk about setup for the song. Now, I'm going to tell you what I did to get the setup, okay? And keep in mind, I also I'm going to have presets for these. What I did is I wanted it to start off with just piano. And I wanted to use something that anybody can do, even someone with a small basic model, okay? And so what I did is the first thing I did is I found a piano. Now, there's a couple presets in the organ that have piano. There's a category preset called Pianos Plus, And if you use pianos plus 0, that gives you a piano. I actually used the D bank. Now, most people know the D bank to be like this. If I put on the D bank, I get a lot of orchestral symphony sounds. Now, I'll just play a few just so you hear it. Now, watch. Number 1 is, let's see, 2. There are a lot of symphony strings, but if you push D1, you get this sound. You get a piano. So that's what I did. I turned on the organ, and the first thing I did is I pushed D1 from the factory to get a piano. Now that's one way. Or you could just turn on the organ. Here's another way. You ready for this? Make sure my volumes. You turn on the organ. A lot of times the organ comes up with an organ sound, right? So if I turn it on and I play some notes, okay, I got an organ sound. I'm going to turn that off. And these flute tabs, and turn it off. So I want to have nothing here. There's no sound. And then just reach up into your upper, okay? And on the E series, the orchestral one, the upper has a piano on it, okay? On the Prestige, on the A series, just turn it on. It comes up to organ, just turn it off, and then turn off those flute tabs, and then just reach up and push the piano button. And guess what? You got a piano, okay? Now, here's the other little trick I want to tell you. This will come in handy if you decide to do this as an option, okay? So I have a piano sound on, all right? Now, right now, there's no piano on the lower right. So if you put on the piano your orchestral, make sure the upper and lower right are on. So that same piano's here and here. I haven't even gotten to the rhythm yet. Right now, I wanted to make this so there weren't so many different sound changes. And as you heard me play the song, I used just a good classic piano sound throughout the whole entire song. Now, I added some harmonies and a little bit of string in there from occasionally, but they're very subtle changes that are easy to do. But the first thing is the main sound is I wanted the piano. Okay? The other thing that I did, when you heard me playing, now listen, I know a lot of people don't like this, but I'm going to encourage you to do it. I want you to listen to the note. Ready? You notice it's getting softer and harder. I'm using the touch feature, the keyboard touch, or dynamic keying. On the A series, dynamic keying. On the E series, it's called keyboard touch. And all that means, it allows me to play the note harder or softer as I press it. Now, I know a lot of people, they don't like it because they don't hit the notes hard enough or what have you. But I think in this, you should give it a try. Because some of the setups that I'm going to give you, the background is not so overwhelming that you can't hear the melody. Okay? Now, so I've got the melody sound now. I got just a classic 9-foot grand piano. That's the one that comes up on the power up when you put it in the orchestral, and that's the one that you see on the panel there for those who have the A series models. Okay? Let's talk about rhythm style. What rhythm style did I use? I used a rhythm style that's been around since 1990. And it's just a good, basic rhythm style. It's simply called Easy 4/4. All right? So on all the A series models and the SU series models, if you put on soft and easy and you don't touch a variation, that's the first rhythm that comes up. Okay? If you put on smooth on the E series, It's this first rhythm that comes on in that group. In fact, even our beginner's model has that same rhythm. Even the Easy series and our Freedom 3 and the Easy 10. Okay, however, normally that style, when you turn it on, it sounds something like this. Okay? That's the rhythm, and it's got, okay? That's how it normally comes, and it's fine. It's a beautiful setup. But I did a couple changes on this. First thing I did is I went over and I turned my drummer off. So I just went over to the drum section, the drum volume. Now listen to it. You hear the drummer? Let me see some thumbs up, nods. Okay. Now watch what happens. I'm going to turn it off. Completely off, right? And you hear the bass? Okay, because when you turn on a rhythm, it has an automatic bass. I turned that off. So I just looked I found auto bass, and auto bass 1 happens to be the one that's on. I just turned it off. Off. Just turn auto bass off. Now, you hear a lot going on in there, right? Piano, but there's actually some more stuff in there. If I do a fill-in, listen. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is turn off, oh wait, actually this is what normally happens. Hear the heart from there, okay? What I'm going to do is turn off Orchestra Plus. And that's what you're left with. I turned off Orchestra Plus. I'm trying to talk over the organ. All you're left with is you have the Easy 4/4, the auto bass is off, the drummer is off, the Orchestra Plus is off. All you should have on at this point is Genie or Basic if you have the E series, okay? And as a result, you get this. Ready? If you listen to the song Hey Jude, it's just Paul McCartney singing and it's just a piano in there. Now they gradually add some things in there. Okay? And I wanted to create that similar effect. So that's really the first setup. And the tempo, by the way, if you put on an Easy 4/4, the tempo is not what I have it on. It's a little slower. I'm using 77. Okay? So you get okay? Now, number 2 may be a little tricky for some of you, and I'm going to teach it to you anyway. All right? Or you're going to want to get the presets, or both. Now, I want you to listen closely to this, and I'm going to put it up on the TV here in a minute. If I put on that rhythm, that setup like I play it, now if I bring in back the bass or the drummer or what have you, that's what it normally sounds like. But this is what I did. Now, this is the second setup. Did you hear it? Do you kind of hear a drummer in there, sort of? You hear a little, you kind of hear a little bit of a beat in there. All right? All right.
How much do you add the drum? What's the volume on?
Well, now I got to get to this because this setup is a little tricky. If you don't do this, it's okay. Don't bring in the drummer. Don't go through. So I'm going to give you the option of just continue playing the same thing, or you can do this. All right? So what I did is you can have one of two things. Just turn up the drummer, and you're going to get the drummer to sound like this. And the question is how loud do I bring that up? Well, let your ears do the talking. Okay, let your ears tell you. Yeah, it's very subtle. But I did something else. And this is where some people may say it's a little bit too much more of a setup for me. So this is an option. All right, now I'm going to put the screen up here. I want you to take a look at the screen. Okay, can you also, you guys can see the screen here, right? All right. Here's what I did. I turned up the drummer, same setup, the piano's the same, okay? I turned up the drummer about 50% of the way. But I did a couple other things here. And it was the closest that I could do to try to copy the song. Okay? Because if you listen to the song they're recording, one of the band members, somebody, is occasionally doing a tambourine in there. And I could not, for the life of me, find a way to just get a tambourine playing automatically. So I had to do a couple things. And I didn't want the drummer to be just drumming along, you know. So what I did is I turned up the drummer. Now look on the screen here. In fact, let me change it so it's even bigger. Okay, ready? Let's see here. What was I doing? Feature. Okay. So you see there it says levels balance. That's pretty big out there, right? Okay. I touch that. You see in the screen? Now, a lot of people don't go here, and we encourage, don't go here unless you really want to mess around. It sets it all up for you. But for this case, what I wanted the drummer to do is not be so, playing along for this part of the song. So what I did is I touched the screen, and I can change the balance of every single thing in the organ in here. I touch the screen and I scroll to where it says, oh, see where it says others? Okay. You see where it says others? What does it say at the bottom left corner? Drummer. So listen to the drummer. You hear a little bit of a cymbal in there. Let me turn off the background for a second. Okay? It's not that loud, but you can. And I didn't want that drummer to be like that. So here's what I did. Is I turned this on. Oh, balance is the one that I touched. See where it says drum balance? What that means is it's at 50%. The balance, and this is always going to do this, between the bass drum and the cymbals. Now watch what happens when I turn the balance down to 0. Now what do you hear? Just a bass drum, right? So that's what I did. So when I'm playing, watch. There's a bit of a drummer in there, but not so overwhelming that I hear the drummer. Okay? So you're going to want to go back and watch this class to see how I did that, okay? I have it at 50% over here, but what I did is I brought the balance down to 0 down, so all you hear is a slight bass drum in there. Okay? Now, oh my gosh, Robert, is this so? Well, if you do it, great. If you don't, it's not going to hurt the song. Okay? Now, what about that tambourine? Robert, you mentioned something about the tambourine, right? Okay. Listen. So if I'm playing along, now you're listening to number 2. Do you hear the tambourine in there? Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Listen. You hear it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hear me do that. Can you hear that now? Can you hear Marilyn? Oh. You left a hearing aid in the car. Okay, but it's there. Okay. But it's there. It's in the left hand. Again, this is probably the trickiest preset to do if you want to do this optionally. So what I did, I have the screen up here so you can see this. So you saw what I did with the drummer. Look in the screen, feature. I'm going to scroll to theater drums, page 3. Now I can tell you 99.8767% of our students don't use theater drums. You know what theater drums are? Theater drums, if you think about the organ, no, they're drums. But theater drums are typically designed for those who play organ. Oh, you can't see me in that picture. Let me switch camera for a second. Okay, you can kind of see. So theater drums is when you're playing the organ manually without a background, and you're doing a chord, pedal, chord, pedal, chord, pedal, and the drums is in the hand and the feet. Boom, boom. So you're creating, that's, years ago, that's how they got a drummer. The organ had a drum on the organ, but you had to do the beat. Oh yeah, tough. So, but theater drums has to be in the organ. Why? Because what if someone played that style? They'd want to have that. And I can tell you, most students don't ever touch the theater drums. Even I don't. You know when I do? When I want to just demonstrate that it's there. And then I play a little bit of something, and then that's it. Dennis Aw, some of you have heard, he uses the theater drums a lot in a lot of his songs because he's from that era where he used it. However, back to the screen. Back to the screen. What does the theater drums have to do with this song, Robert, if I don't play chords and pedals? Well, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go to page 3, theater drums, and you're going to see there. Now watch this. I'm going to go back to the original preset. This is what it normally shows. You see? It says cymbals and crash cymbals and all that stuff. If you turn on your theater drums, you'd get something a little bit too much for the song. Ready? Let's see. Turn on theater drums. Turn on. Oh, ready? Watch. No, doesn't work, does it? No. So watch. Here's what I did. I turned on the theater drums on this preset, and I made all of these. I scrolled up to where it says quiet, no sound. Again, this is an option. But what I did is I put, one of them I kept tambourine. Okay? So none of these I turned them all off. And I put tambourine. All right? Now, it's important. it's important that you know this, that in all of my presets, or this one especially, I don't have a chord sound in the left hand. But I'm still playing, you still have to play the chord, but I turned off my lower sound. Again, listen to the piano, the first preset. I don't want a chord sound in my left hand, I just want the piano. Okay, so
Playing the melody only?
well, you have to play both hands, but don't put on a sound. Listen,
So you're basically just
but you still have to play the left hand.
why?
Because the piano player, you hear him? What's he going to do next? The question is, if I don't have a chord sound, why do I have to play the left hand? Well, listen to the piano player. What happens if I don't change the chord, even though there's no sound? The piano player won't change. Watch. See the look you got? You probably did the same thing. Ugh, that's terrible. Because when you are playing the left-hand chord, even if there's no sound being produced, you're telling the person playing what to do next. Now listen. You hear that? See, too many times students always have to put a chord down there. To me, I don't always think it's necessary if we're using the band. In this case, we want just a piano player. I don't want this. It takes away from the song. All right? So anyway, back to the second setup. I told you what I did with the drums, and then I told you what I did with this. So what happens is when I'm playing, all right? Play the last part. Now watch, listen. So you kind of hear the chord in there? All right.
When you're playing, you have to play finger chords?
No, they're good questions. Do I have to play three-finger chords? I'm doing it because I'm a little more comfortable with it. But you can do it like this. You can do your easy play. All right? Now, if you decide that you want to use that little tambourine in there, let me give you a couple pointers on what I did. All right? Take your music and write this in here. I'll pull it up on here.
That's for the second arrangement.
Yeah, on the second arrangement. All right?
Hey, Jude.
Page one, second preset. I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to give you some chords to write in here. And you're going to be a little perplexed at first, and I'll explain why. You ready? All right, so we're in the third line. Hey, Jude, see where number 2 is? Put an F chord above the word don't. Just put a little F, a little square. Okay?
Even though it already starts with an F?
You did exactly what I was expecting. Even though you already have an F, there's a reason why. I'll tell you why in a minute.
You picked up your finger and put A2, pressed A2.
Nope, I'll explain why. You're going to get a little bit confused again, all right? Here we go. Let me make sure I get the right chords. Okay, 1, 2, 3, the fourth line, you see where it has the C chord? And you see the word, it's part of the word afraid. Frayed. Between the G and the G notes, put in another C chord in there. Okay? Now let me go on the screen.
C and C
Yeah,
together.
so let me change cameras here. Okay. All right. So tell me, let me change my view because it's hard for me to see. Okay. Spotlight. Okay.
Okay.
So you see right, third line, see right there, I put another F chord there. And Cecilia and some of you are going, well, wait a second, there's already F chord. Why'd you do that, Robert? I'll explain that in a minute. Now go down the next line, you'll see a C chord right there. See that has 3 beats? This is so like right in between, I did another C chord. That's supposed to be a C.
I have a question about that. Doesn't she even
Okay.
Yes, hold that thought. There's a reason.
just
Yes, there's a reason why I'm doing this, so hold that thought. I have to get through the chords, you'll see. You're probably thinking like everybody else. Why do it already holds it, right? Yes, but there's a reason. All right, the next chord, on that same line, okay, keep going down to the end on the 1, 2, third measure of that. It says, get her. See the F chord there?
Mhm.
Right. Put right where the B flat and the A is, put another F chord there. Go to the next line down. You see the B flat? Add another B flat right above the word her.
above the word what?
Her.
Where the L starts.
No. Minute you let her.
The note F, but there's an F there.
There's an F note there, yes.
So you put another B
B flat.
flat.
And then on the next one, you got an F chord, put another F chord above the F, the word then. Okay? Now, here's why we're doing this. All right? If you listen, what did I tell you? I had the tambourine in there, right? Okay? Now let me turn down the background a little bit. So you could just hear the tambourine. Hear it? Okay? Now what happens when I press the note on, you hear the tambourine in the left hand, right? I know it's hard for you to hear, but, okay? It only happens when I hit the chord.
You hit it double and then
Once I hit a chord, all you hear is a tambourine once. So you get this. Well, the tambourine doesn't keep going. So the reason why I put those chords in there for you to play is because every time you play a chord, even if it's the same chord, now you can, with this, I gave you an example of what to do, but you don't have to be exactly, you may do a chord a couple times. You might do something like this. You may tap it a few times. Just remember, every time you strike a chord, the way this is set up, or strike the lower keyboard, if you have that tambourine, it's going to make the tambourine sound. If you don't, then it'll just sound when you actually hit the chord. So that's why I gave you the same chord more than once. Yes, you're right. If you normally you hit a chord, the background, you don't have to do it, but the tambourine doesn't keep going.
Okay.
Any questions about that?
very clear.
Okay, So what happens is, on the second setup, when I go to the second setup, here's the last measure in the first setup. Whoops. Okay, it's good. All right. So that beginning kind of involved a little bit. And now, if you get like, I don't want to try this, it's going to be too hard. It's okay. Just do the same setup all the way through. Now, I'll give you one more setup here, and then what I'm going to do is when I do this part 2 to this class, I'm going to have a lot of this information already typed up for you in advance and emailed. And so the next class is going to be a little easier because this part took a little bit more time. I knew it was going to happen. For the third setup, remember I had just a piano on, right? Now I have a piano, but I also have strings. All I did is I turned on my ensemble strings. You know, the yellow tab here, that's usually here, or in the screen here, and I just put on the 16-foot strings. So now I have piano and that. I brought back the auto bass 1, which is what I turned off earlier. Okay? I put on Orchestra Plus. Basically, all those things are turned off in the beginning. And then I brought the drummer up. I have it up to 90%. Okay? And so, when I'm on that last setup, number 2, number 3, it's going to segue like this. Okay? Yeah, because I brought in the whole band. Earlier, all we had, I kick kind of, if you listen to the song, the drummer kicks in and they start singing and more, and the bass comes in and all that stuff comes in. Now, so what I did.
Some of the interior angles of a block. So here is our figure. And again, we have these various angles. Look.
That's someone's stuff in the background going, so I just, okay. Well, hold on, well, real quick. So I brought in the drummer, I brought in the auto bass, I turned on the Orchestra Plus. One little extra thing, this is to me important in the arrangement, is I turned on altar style. Okay, and the reason is because otherwise it would sound like this, not bad, but listen to the altar style. Okay, it just becomes a little more grooving, because if you listen to the song, they kind of groove a little bit. I couldn't find the exact kind of a drummer at the time when I was putting these together to make it sound just like that, but the altar style makes that drummer groove a little bit, okay? Now, the last thing, again, I'm going to be typing up all of these notes for you, so you're going to have this in advance, and there's more to come. So I'll tell you what to look forward to. But at the very end of the song, I don't know if, or at the second page, I don't know if you heard me, but it goes. They do that in the song. Da, 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 da. If you look at the E, F, G, G, that's why, remember earlier I told you I wanted the piano on the top and the lower right? It's so that when I go, and then I do a little fill in and I go, or you can go, just repeat those last few notes, and you get that same effect that they did in the song. It's E, F, G, G.
So you go down
On the lower right keyboard, I just go. Okay? Now, if you want to know if you want to play more than one note, okay, you take C and E, and then go up the very next two notes, D and F, and then E and G. Okay, I'll say it again. C and E, D and F together, and then E and G.
at the end.
Just at the very end. Now listen, watch. I'll play for the last two measures. Okay? Now, before we get to a question, let me tell you what you have to look forward to. I didn't even go over 4, 5, and 6. I thought that might happen. 4, 5, and 6 is going to be a little bit easier to explain because it's already going to use the rhythm, and all I'm going to do is turn on a harmony in there somewhere. Okay? We'll use the theater drums again. You can see there's some changes there, but I'll get to that. I'll get to that in the next class. However, I also have, now this class really is, for this class, I'm going to say it's about 70% of what I thought of as an arrangement. The other 30% is actually ideas that I got from Jerome and from Don. Okay? So you know at the very end of the song, if you look at your easy play, you can look real hard. There's nothing on this song that goes. It's not there, is it? Okay? Huh?
Missing a page.
It's not missing. I have it.
No, wait, where you're going to.
Oh, no, I have the third page.
What
I
is
have
this
the third
song?
page. But I have to give you a reason to come back.
That's what I'm saying, it's missing for us.
It's missing for you. And I did that intentionally because I wanted to make sure that we stayed focused on this. Because that third page is not 4, 5, and 6. It's actually 7, 8, and 9. But the changes are very subtle. It's just a rhythm change. But 4, 5, and 6 is very similar, using a different rhythm. But the last part of the song is an idea I got from Jerome on a rhythm style that he uses and it's perfect for it. It's really big, and it's going to be something like, you know. Listen to the band. Okay? So, I mean, it's a dramatic ending, right? You think of that song, it builds up. So I'm going to have all of that typed out for you. You're going to have it in advance, a lot of it. But you're not going to want to miss the class because there's some other little things that I'm going to do. What I'll do next time is I'm just going to recap the first few minutes of what we did, and then I'm going to give you the second part of the arrangement. So now you could see why, as I was doing this last night, I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to do this in one class. And I wanted to take the time to show you those extra little things that I did that normally probably someone wouldn't do. Now, again, if I never turn on those theater drums and I just turn up the drummer in that second setup and continue playing, actually, that's how I was originally going to do it. And I thought, yeah, that'll work. And I decided to do the little extra adjustment just for the heck of the class, sake of the class. Okay? So you're going to get 4, 5, and 6 are very similar. So it's almost like one setup just done slightly different. And the last setup, you're going to be very surprised. The major changes in that is going to be the rhythm and what I do in the right hand. And then I'm going to give you the music to that. So you'll have all 3 pages. So when you get the music, you're going to see all of my notations that I said today. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to see 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? So I'm going to have it all typed up, sent out, emailed, and then I'll send it out before the next class, so you'll have it.
Not gonna be a month away, though.
No, it's going to be like next week. Okay? I just got to determine what day. So you can come in or watch it online, whichever is your preference.
Day, Wednesday.
I'm not, no, because I have Joe's Tricks of the Trades on Wednesday. So it would conflict. So I have to figure out what day is going to work. I don't know yet. I'll do the best that I can. What I want to do is post this class and the materials for the next class. So you'll have that. So when we do the next class, everything's going to continue to make sense. Okay? Now, dare I ask, are there any questions about anything today?
I have a couple. When you were here, you had strings and oboe, piano, oboe, and strings.
Robert, I had one.
Just the oboe?
Oh, I'm sorry, she didn't hear. She's asking a question, so hold that thought, and I'll tell you
Sorry.
what her question is. It says piano and strings and oboes, ignore that.
So don't put any oboe on.
Don't do what you see in what you saw on the screen there, because,
So you don't use the oboe.
no, I changed the sounds,
Okay.
okay? I took a setup that was there, and then I changed it to the piano.
And
So
the second question is, they do have Hey Jude in the song setup. Is that totally different? than
okay,
the
they
one
have the
that
song
was
Hey
already-
Jude in the song setup. Let's see. If I go to song setup,
Use it all the time.
all right, is it different than what I did? Probably. Let's see. Let's see. Let me put on Hey Jude. And it's going to depend on the organ, too. Each organ's going to have a different rhythm. Hey Jude actually gives me the easy, let me do it again. It gives me easy 4/4. It gives me the same rhythm, but it puts on a flugelhorn on the upper keyboard with the band and everything. What I'm doing is I'm giving you a whole arrangement that builds. But that's a great setup. Okay?
That's what I usually use.
Where are you, Sue, Kelly?
Yeah.
What was your question?
When you said you added the altar, when you did the Orc Plus and okay, auto bass. You turned that off, your Plus off, and the basic on, and you added the altar, and you wanted that on. But when you did that in some way speed up?
It did not speed up. All it did is the drummer came in, but when you put on altar style, sometimes the drummer's a little differently. So if you listen, this is the drummer. You got to hear it with the band, but okay, now what I'm going to do is turn off the band. So all you hear is the bass and the drummer. You hear the drummer in there?
Yep.
When I put on altar style, the drummer changes, the band changes a little bit.
There you go.
That's all.
what I heard.
So that's the only reason why I did that. I preferred the way that
Oh, okay.
drummer was working
Yeah,
on
I
that.
like that.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I have a question, Robert.
Yes.
Okay, so when you first do your setup, you go to easy 4/4, right? But then
Yes.
can you right away do your edit style, go to your features, and then go to your balance, you level it and then go down to 0 or 50%?
You
And
can do
then
that. You
go there.
can do that in the beginning if you'd like.
Yeah, and then you have to press the theater drum, right? So
Yes,
that there will be no sound anyway. Every time you have to play the chord, the tambourine comes in,
you're right.
right? I think that's it.
Right. So
Okay.
again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type up the step by step how I did it, instructions. And so when you get a copy of that, theoretically, if you just do it, it should come out the same way. Just remember this, save your presets as you go.
Right.
Okay? And then I'll have the presets available for the A series, the E series, and the SD as well. Okay? So I'm going to work on that. And uh-oh, my computer thinks I'm saying Siri. She's trying to,
Okay.
I'm going to stop her before she starts looking up some crazy. She's starting to play a song by Travis Scott. Sorry, give me a second here. Oh my gosh. It actually thought I said, stop trying to be good. Stop trying to be God by Travis Scott. Got to be careful what you say if you think.
I would have trouble playing this because of the way it's written. It's written in very distinct rhythm. But you,
Okay, I'm glad you said that. I should have said something earlier.
that's your,
Okay. She said, I have trouble playing the song because, the notes are, some of them are so very, what do they call that? Syncopated, I guess, or it's very, not syncopated. They're very straightforward kind of, yeah. When I play the song, when I heard the song, hey, there's a little pauses in there. I'm going to encourage you to play the song wrong so it sounds right.
I know.
Just, when I play the song, I don't follow the notes values as much as I do the letters.
Exactly.
I use the note letters so I know what note to play, and I play them how I know the song. So when I play it, there's some general pauses. See, that's probably a little bit different even. So you can see even like that AC, I didn't play two quarter notes. I kind of played them.
Right.
So try to
You
play the
keep
song.
playing
You
blue
know,
notes.
As you hear.
what I would encourage you to do is listen to the song a few times, and you'll naturally go on YouTube. That's the way I did it. I just went on YouTube and listened to it, found it, and I have a recording of it somewhere too. See if you could just listen to it a few times, and then what'll happen is you may end up naturally playing it more like you know it than what the notes are in there. Okay? So don't miss the second class because I'm going to really there's some other things that I'm going to put in the music for you that I didn't give you today. There's a little additional notes that they do in the song. I did them here, but I didn't say it. I thought I gave you enough already. Okay?
When did you have the schedule?
I'll email it out on Sunday for sure. So Sunday when I send out the weekly notice, I'll do it. My goal is to do it maybe Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure yet. I can't do it on Wednesday, and I don't want to wait till Thursday or Friday because that's so far away. So I'm going to try to do it sooner, but it won't be before Sunday. Okay? I'll get everything to you before that next class, so you have it. You can compare notes. You can start working with the setups, have some fun with that. And then I'll have the presets available and so forth. Okay, thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay healthy, keep playing music. Mwah.